Don Williams, welcome back again for the 10th plus time, I believe.
All right. Yeah. Always fun talking to you and seeing what we can do to spread good information to help our kids, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting because I've been getting a lot of the same questions around college soccer recruiting and how to make a video highlight. I feel I can give good general advice on this, but I think you have so much more insight on all aspects that players should be showing and what they should be showing specific to their position on the field. So let's start off with this because this is a loaded topic. How much does video highlights influence college recruiting? Do college coaches look at video a lot, or are they more like getting out to showcases? Does video get players in the door, or like fill us in?
Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to imagine and putting yourself into the shoes of a college coach. If you're one of the big name schools that are on most kids' lists, they're probably getting upwards of a thousand emails a week, especially before an event, right? In an off week, it might just be a couple hundred, but even a couple hundred is hard to get through. Okay, so I think we've talked about this before, but when you're emailing a coach, I always, if you're an All American, put that in the title, right? Even though it doesn't apply necessarily to youth. If you scored 30 goals this season, put that in the subject, right? In the subject, I meant not title, but in the subject. Try to get their attention right away in that email, but then you got to get straight to it. We've talked about emails in the past, so I don't want to get too deep into that. You can maybe link some of the other episodes where we've talked about that. But in that, we want to give them your highlight film. And all you're trying to do is give them a reason to come and see you at an event. Usually that's how highlight film is done. Although I've had a number of clients and kids that I've worked with in the past and even through junior college that were recruited on film only. If you give coaches enough information and they look at their schedules and they figure out that they can't come and see you, probably not the Power Four or even maybe the mid majors, but there's a lot of schools around the country, certainly at Division II and Division III and lower level Division I and junior colleges and NAIA schools that don't have budgets to go to the number of events that maybe some of the Power Four schools and mid majors would have. So they may end up recruiting off of film only. So what we want to do is we want to give them uh, a summary of who you are as a player and how you can impact the game through an introductory highlight film that will run anywhere between, everybody goes 3 minutes, 3 minutes only, 3.5 minutes only. You can't make hard and fast rules. I've seen 7 minute videos that felt like 2 minutes, and I've seen 2 minute videos that felt like an hour. They were just horrible. So it's if soccer coaches are fans of soccer, and so if it's exciting, if it's fun to watch, and I don't mean music or slow motion or anything like that. I'm just talking about, wow, what a good goal. Man, that's a good header. What a good, strong, hard tackle that is. Look at her go. Look at her track down that player. Wow, she just got up off the ground from losing the ball and tracked that player back down 30 yards, won it off a sliding tackle, stood back up with it, marched right back down the field, made two passes, got on the other end of it and scored, is something that's going to grab a coach's attention. That one clip might be 45 seconds or a minute, but it's exciting. It's good fun to watch soccer, right? It's exciting. So yes, highlights are used to grab a coach. Look, here we go. Think of a highlight video like a movie trailer. You're trying to convince a movie producer's trying to convince somebody to leave their house, drive to the movie theater, invest money at the box office, sit down and basically between the time they left the home and by the time they get back to home, invest 4.5 to maybe 5 hours of their life into something that they've created. They did that through the movie trailer. If the movie trailer is, oh, this is horrible, I don't know that I want to see this. This doesn't look very good. Nobody spends the money. If the movie trailer is, wow, look at this. This is very exciting. I want to go see this movie. Then you've done your job. The marketing department's done their job. And that's what a highlight video is for. It's to grab that coach's attention and get them to want to invest the next hour, 2 hours, 5 hours of their time in you, getting to know the deeper version of you. So the deeper version of that highlight trailer is watching the movie. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. I love the movie trailer analogy. And I can so relate when I'm watching some of these recruit highlight videos. Some of them I'm so wowed. I'm like, wow, she really showed everything. It was exciting and fun to watch. And then other ones, not so much. I'm like, oh, cool. She made a bunch of 10-yard passes. Anyone can do that. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot too, where
Right.
there are girls including things in these videos that cool, like everyone can do it. Like, show me something more exciting than this. So, are there like some things like that where it's like, stop putting that in your video all the time?
Yeah, well, to stop putting in there, yeah, and negative 5 yard passes, negative 10 yard passes are. It's like I, I get really sarcastic sometimes and cynical, and I just go, yeah, I literally have seen 10-year-olds that can do that. If what you're putting in your video a 10-year-old can do, it's probably not a good highlight video. Think about it as almost ESPN highlight videos, right? They aren't putting, oh, that guy just hit a ground ball to the shortstop and he threw him out, right? Oh, that guy just did a layup, right? That's not making the top 10 highlight videos of the week. Why? Not that it's not a good play, not that it's not a good layup or a good throw, or in our case, a good pass. It's that it doesn't make me want to do anything more. I don't see how that impacts my team when I have literally a whole team of players already that can do what you're doing. What you're trying to show, coaches, is I can do something for you and your team that's rare. Okay, that's rare. And look, it all depends on the level at which you're trying to be recruited. And this day and age, I have no problems with players having ambitions to play at Notre Dame or Connecticut or Florida State or whatever the big name school is, or Baylor or whatever the big name school is. But if you think that you're going to play at that level and your video is, 5 10 yard passes, 3 long balls, couple of simple tackles, maybe a goal or two. And in the women's game, by the way, we tend to see a lot of goals from 18, 20, 25, 30, 35 yards out. And it's not necessarily because it's a good shot that was dipping and swerving and bending and driven up into the top corner. It's because the goalkeepers are terrible. They're just awful. The footwork is bad. They're short. They can't jump. They don't know how to judge a high ball. And so the ball ends up floating helplessly over that goalkeeper's head. That's not a good goal. That's not a good goal. So, it's got to be something where a coach could say, at my level right now, that would impact my team. And I always say a player should watch their video, their highlight video, and go, wow, this is the best that I've ever played. Nothing more irritating to me watching a video and then talk to a player and the player goes, yeah, it really doesn't represent how I really play. What are you talking about? Isn't every game filmed nowadays? At least when I go to events, there's not a field out there at an ECNL or a GA event, or even, some of the other levels where there's not a VO camera or a pixel camera or a huddle cam. There's a remote camera up there at almost every game. So every moment is being filmed. How can you say that my highlights don't represent the best of what I can really do? I don't understand that statement.
I think it's such a great point that you make that when girls are putting these videos together, they're applying for a job essentially, and this should reflect your best work, your top performance. And like you said, these college coaches are getting thousands of emails, and it's like, how are you going to catch their attention and get them to want to watch you at a showcase where there's hundreds of other teams at the same showcase and thousands of other girls. So maybe we can just quickly go through maybe each position on the field and some wow factors that they can include to really showcase their specialty and their position on the field. So maybe let's start with the forward, some things that they can include in their videos that are really non-negotiable to get the attention of coaches.
I've seen striker videos where there's virtually no goals. Then you're not a striker. You're not a forward. If you can't score, your main job. Look, think of it this way: the closer you are in position, generally to your opponent's goal, the more goals you have to score. So the 9 has to score more goals than the 10 has to score more goals, then the 8 has to score more goals than the 6 and the 7 and the 11 have to score more goals than the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5 have to score more goals than the goalkeeper. The closer you are, the more goals that you should have in your video. Otherwise, we'll stick you in the back if you have no ability to score goals. So a striker now has to show that they can score a large variety of goals. So if it's only shots from 30 yards out, you're not going to be recruited by a certain level. You're only going to be recruited by a lower level. But if there's a diving header and a bicycle kick and a couple of scrappy flew in with my legs into a dangerous position for me, and I'm challenging the goalkeeper and I'm scoring full volleys and half volleys and rocket shots, and I can score Olympic goals off of corners, and I can score off of corner kicks in a variety of styles away. I can juke the goalkeeper and go around the goalkeeper. I can do everything that might happen to me in a season. I can score from those varying positions with my left foot, with my right foot. I can do it with both feet. That becomes an exciting striker. When we say striker, I mean, a coach will say, what I need this year, the 2 biggest requests that we get, 3 biggest requests, top, from college coaches. I need a goal scorer. Okay. And that means being able to score a variety of goals. So if you're a 9, a 10, or an 8, you should be scoring a lot of goals. Then the assists, right? And again, a variety of kinds of assists. If it's just straight long through balls, just straight runs and straight balls are like, and if that's all the kinds of assists there are, I can play a long ball and they run straight onto it. Those are what I would call a speed goal, right? And it really has to do with either horrible lack of organization of the defensive line because they were flat and the goalkeeper was leaving too much space between the back line and the goalkeeper, and you're just exploiting that space, which is fine, but it won't really work at the higher levels of collegiate soccer because coaches at a certain level know how to organize their defense, know how to organize their keepers, and those spaces get cut out. So a straight ball and a straight run through on goal very rarely will end up in a goal in college soccer, unless it's from midfield, right? I mean, if the run starts at midfield, everybody was flat at midfield, which we might see, but then the long ball gets played in. That's different, but that's not what I'm talking about. The little through balls that are happening. But if you're able to play the right diagonal pass onto a straight run or this right straight pass onto a diagonal run coming across, lead that person, hit the feet at the right moment. If you're able then to also show that you can play a variety of crosses, I can recognize that it's a back post ball. It needs to be more lofted. I can recognize that it's a near post ball. It needs to be more driven. And you can play a variety of assists. I can head the ball to the player at the right moment so that they can get onto it. A variety of assists. Goals and assists are the primary job of a striker. Now the boring routine stuff, I can help us keep possession when we're down in the corner, and I can help us play a little rondo in there. That's fine. One or two clips of that. I can make a hard tackle occasionally. I can track back when the moment is necessary. I can show my speed there. I can shepherd and shield to a specific place on the pitch. I can know how to cut off angles, things like that. Those are the fillers, right? Those are the fillers. So what I will tell a striker that has a lot of goals is create a goals and assist video that's only goals and assists. Create that. Don't worry about anything else, just that. Now your highlight video is the best, the most exciting of your goals and your assists. And then you get on to those other things that I was mentioning. Parry that down to about 3.5 minutes. And then you can have an extended 8-minute video, but but link that as a second longer video, right? And then with all positions, include 2 matches in which you lit it up against good competition. Not like, oh, I scored 9 goals this game. By the way, these players look like they can't even walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm sure 4 of them have never played soccer before, and it's from high school, and it looks terrible, but I scored 9 goals. That's not the full match we're looking for. We're looking for, we made it to the quarterfinals. These are very, very, very good teams. We're very evenly matched. And look what I did to them to help us win the game and look how well I played through the 90 minutes are the 2 full match links that you want to give to coaches.
I love it. Now, anything for forwards before we move on for showing what they do off the ball?
Yeah, but there's not as many. Like I say, off the ball is what that's defensively, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, a forward can move away out of a space or come into a space to create space for another player on the ball. But when we have the ball, but when they have the ball, is generally a lot of the off the ball stuff is when they have the ball. So there's 3 moments of the game: when we have the ball, when they have the ball, and then transition. And you can call it 4 minutes transition from when we have the ball to when they get the ball, and from when they have the ball to when we get the ball. Those transitional moments and those movements you can put in there, but if that's going to extend you might want to save some of that for your extended highlight video, for the longer one that I was talking about. In that general first introduction video, get them excited to want to. If you can talk me into investing 30 seconds into you, which is the first 30 seconds of your video, then I'm going to give you probably 3 minutes. If you can talk me into investing a full 3 minutes in you, then you're going to probably get another 6 minutes. 8 minutes of my attention. If you can still keep me excited after 6 to 8, 10 minutes, then I'm going to invest in a match. I'll invest in 90 minutes. If I feel like I want to see this repeated again for consistency, then I can invest another 90 minutes here in the comfort of my home or in my office, or have my assistant go through it and make notes and then come back to me with a summary. Then our staff is willing to invest more time in you, getting you on the phone, getting to know you better, coming out and seeing you at games, building that relationship, that courtship process that we've talked about before.
Okay, now what about for our attacking center mids? Anything else that they should include?
Very similar. Well, as you come into a central mid position, you're going to have balls going in, by, past, through you, around you, offensively and defensively, more than you will if you're a striker. Okay. So there's a lot more chaos in that. So how do I organize that chaos? How do I control that midfield area? A good 6 and an 8 should cover roughly 20 square yards around themselves in that center, to be able to control that center of the field, right? And the 10 in the modern game, which comes back. So again, the 10, very similar to the 9, depending on your team style of play. If you're playing a 4-4-2, where they're both interchanging in and out, then they're going to be very, very similar highlight films. between the 8 and the 10. If the 9 is playing as a solo striker and the 10 is playing in deeper and beneath them, then the 10 and the 8 may be very, very similar in their film. So from those players, we expect to see a dominance of the midfield through their defensive efforts and through their efforts to make sure that we maintain possession. So you may be on the ground a few more times, right? You may be lunging at balls to make sure that that the pass doesn't go through and that we're closing down the spaces. How do we play with each other? I'm going to be watching the spatial recognition and the coordination between the 6 and the 8 and the 10 and how they work together in that midfield area. If I see the 6 and the 8 working very closely together and the 10 is always kind of out of position and I'm assessing the 10 and there's always these crazy spaces that the 6 and 8 are having to fill, and then I'm going to say that the 10 may not know what they're doing. And same for any of those positions. So look, we still expect goals out of the 8 and the 10. Okay, we still expect assists out of the 8 and the 10. And I would still recommend that the most exciting moments of your position are what you want to put in the first 30 seconds. So, wingers, the most exciting moments of their position usually is I can juke, and I can go from 0 to 60, 60 to 0. I can change pace. I can stop and stutter and create space on that wing. It's that 1v1 stuff. So I can play 1v1 and I can stop 1v1 very, very well. I can track back and win balls. It's not just track back and chase somebody from behind and pressure them from behind. It's I can track back and win balls. And I've got a work rate. I've got an engine to me, right? So I think the 8 and the 10 are very similar in a lot of ways. The 8 probably has generally in most systems, and the 6 more responsibilities for cutting angles, forcing play wide, shepherding players in the right position, and for Pete's sake, good hard tackles, message sending tackles that this is my area and you're not coming through here. And I'm not going to just so many times we see defensively that at the youth game we see that 6 and that 8 just backing up as they're being attacked, just backing up. It's like that's not what I want. I need pressure on that ball to make that attacker make a mistake. I need them feeling like this player is going to win the ball from me, so I better get rid of it. And then I've made a bad pass because they put me under so much pressure, or they're constantly putting on me on my weak foot, right? And I'm constantly turning the ball over. That's what we want to see on the defensive end, especially from those central midfielders.
Awesome. Now let's move on to the defensive line. So our outside backs and our center backs.
If you can't head the ball, you're not playing at the next level. This constant refusal of players to head the ball drives me insane. And we can all talk about concussion syndrome and all that stuff all we want. I'm sorry. The ball is in the air a lot in the modern game at every level. And if the back line can't head the ball out with power and precision, then you're going to have a hard time getting recruited, especially from the 4 and the 5, from the central players, right? The 2 and the 3, probably not as much, but still, if you can't head the ball, if you can't get in there, so you need to show that you can clear balls out with authority from all situations. So live play, crosses into the box, set plays, free kicks, corner kicks, free kicks from various angles, from wide positions, from central positions, that you are setting that precedent in a match that I am the authority in this position and you cannot come through me. Okay, I'm going to win those balls no matter what. And then just think about the things, Erica, that happen through a match. A player breaks away. How do you deal with that breakaway, right? Are you able to hook slide and win that ball at the right moment, right? Are you able to track that player down and push them into a position where you're covering the back post and then block that shot to the back post, right? Are you able to get the ball then and go forward? I think so many times we see that back line, their video starts with a 10-yard pass, a 5-yard pass, and you've already lost me. I understand that all of us as coaches want to see passes from that back line, but the number one job of a goalkeeper is saving goals. The number one job of a back line is winning balls. So we have the levels of defending. First level is to win the ball. That's the first level. Second level is to pressure and delay, right? Third level of defending, if I can't do that, is to delay and shepherd, right? So we have to show coaches that we understand when each of those levels of defending need to be employed. And then what happens when we win the ball, right? What type of distribution do I make? And I think the other issue that youth are going to have in putting their videos together today, as I watch youth games, is, and we're even seeing it in the Premier League, right? Everything is short. Everything is short. Everything is a 5 to 10 to 8 to 15-yard pass. Everything is short. You're going to have a problem if that's what you're showing and that's all you're showing. So can she play a 20-yard ball, a 30-yard ball, a 40-yard ball, a 50-yard ball, two target, two passes? I'm not talking about into space for the fastest player to run on. But can we play passes of longer distances? Can I play a ball that swings in? Can I play a ball if I'm playing across the pitch that swings out or into the pitch, right? Or a ball that swings into the pitch. So it drives me crazy when I see a left back use their right foot to play a ball along the touchline and it's bending out towards the touchline. It drives me nuts because it's just showing me that player doesn't understand the principles of making the proper passes so that a player can run onto the ball. So it's, as a back, I think it begins with good hard tackles and defending and tracking players down, and then what do you do in those transitional moments when we've won the ball and we get the ball going forward?
Now we'll move on to goalkeepers. I know you're especially passionate about them. So, yeah, what do goalkeepers include in their highlight videos?
And by the way, let me just go before we do that, because I just thought of something else I should have said. In most systems around the world, the best headers of the ball and the best players in dealing with the balls in the air are the backs. And so what happens on set plays, right? So on corner kicks and free kicks, you should have goals coming from the backs. Okay? You should have goals coming from the back. So don't forget that.
Perfect.
Goalkeepers. Yeah, look, our number one job is to keep the ball out of the net. That is absolutely the number one job we have. So if you have no spectacular athletic saves in your video, you're probably not getting recruited. If you have no wow moments on your saves, you're probably not getting recruited. So we have various types of dives that happen during a goalkeeper's career. We have extension dives where they've left the ground, they're flying through the air, they get up into those upper corners, and they're using good technique to get as much extension as they can on those balls, so they can fly. They can truly get up into the corners and make those wow moment saves. And then we have what they call collapse dives. So it's I feel like I need to smother this ball. I feel like I need to fall down and smother this ball because of the pressure that's coming at me or because of the difficulty of the ball. If your video is just full of those simple collapse dives, you're probably going to have a problem getting recruited. So show those wow moments, show those dives, show that you're you can handle the basic low, medium, and high balls to the left and to the right and straight at you. And the simple ones, the falling forward smother save, if you use that technique, one or two, right? Handling, this ball is fizzed at me, really hit hard, bam, it sticks. One or two. And again, it's just one or two of each of these moments of these saves. You don't need, tons and tons and tons of the same save over and over and over again. Now, the number one thing that I think that goalkeepers tend to leave out of their videos, and maybe it's because they're not very good at it, and that is, how do they deal with crosses? How do they deal with long balls coming into the box? Can they control? I always said, goalkeeper, start out, can you control 3 yards out? Like nothing happens 3 yards out. Then it becomes 6 yards out, my 6-yard box. Nothing happens inside my 6-yard box. I never get scored on. I can control my entire 6. Then it becomes 8 yards out. Then it becomes 10 yards out. Then it becomes 12 yards out. The farther out that you can control, and eventually we end up saying control your 18, right? And it may be, look, I can't come 18 yards out, but what I can do is I can organize my backs so that we control the 18. No ball should hit the ground inside the 18, theoretically. We don't want that happening. And we're talking about balls in the air, right? Nobody should be backing off or holding enough space so that balls are being launched into the box from long crosses, and then they're hitting the ground in the 18 means we're not controlling our 18. So how the goalkeeper controls their 6 and then extending out towards their 12 is vital, and they have to prove that they can do that. Now, I see videos of goalkeepers coming out, punching a ball straight down to the top of the 18. First thing I think, as is the collegiate level, that's a goal. Here you are 12 yards from your goal, and you put it into a position that they can smash it right back into the goal. That's not good. We're talking about same rules that we have for our backs, we have from our goalkeepers. When we're clearing a ball, it's high, far, and wide. So when I'm punching a ball, it's high, far, and wide. When I'm heading a ball out as a back, it's high, far, and wide. Okay? Unless I'm making a pass to a wide open player. Okay? That would be different. But it's not very often that a back, or in this case, a goalkeeper, is able to punch a ball down to one of their players on purpose who's wide open. It's usually pretty crowded in our box. So being able to clear that ball, punch that ball when necessary, high, far, and wide. And then, however, I always say, if you can get both fists to the ball, you should be able to get both hands to the ball. Your hands make you taller than your fists. I'm at full extension. Now I'm 4 inches taller with my fingertips. I should be grabbing those balls. And does it mean I'm going to get smacked around? It makes it more exciting for the video. If I go up, I grab a ball, I get spun around and smacked to the ground, and I'm still holding it, that's exciting. That's a wow moment, right? Girls struggle with this, but guys do too. Oftentimes they're because their goalkeeper training isn't very good. High balls going back into the goal. So the idea that we have as goalkeepers is to demonstrate that we can close the space between the back line and the goalkeeper. So I don't want a goalkeeper that's sitting inside their 6 when their back line is 35 yards out from goal. If their back line's 35 yards out from goal, that means the ball is probably 35 to 40 yards past that. So that means there's 70 yards of space between the goalkeeper and the ball. That's not good. So we want the goalkeeper closing that space as much as possible between the back line and the goalkeeper, which means now the space is over the goalkeeper's head, which means players will recognize that and they will attempt wild, long shots. Can the goalkeeper track back and make that save? You have to be able to demonstrate that. The tipping over the bar, around the post, the flying back saves, you've got to be able to demonstrate that. So if you can open up with one or two, I've started to think of videos, and we've talked about this as a staff, and begin to design some of our videos, if there's enough solid clips in there, so that that first 30 seconds is two wow moments, for example, of a goalkeeper, your best two wow moments of a save, your best two wow moments of a cross, your best two wow moments of the clips, I mean, of a tipping. And then that's your first 30 seconds. Then you get into all of your other saves and all of your other crosses and all of your other tips. And then, of course, we have the distribution moments, right? Can you distribute from your hands, low, medium, and high? Can you distribute from the floor, okay, with your feet? And then can you distribute from goal kicks? And unfortunately, and I still don't understand this. Why does a goalkeeper put the ball at the 6 and then have two players standing just 5 yards from them and then play that player the ball? It's like, and then that player
Yeah.
makes an 8-yard pass. It's like, well, can't the goalkeeper just make the 8-yard pass? Well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
So if that's what your distribution is from goal kicks, is short, 3-4 yard passes, just leave them out. Just leave them out. Because I think the goalkeeper needs to demonstrate that they can recognize where the space is and where the open players are. So if we're playing short 4 times in a row, what does the other team do, Erica?
They pressure.
So then where has the space been created? If they press us with numbers, where is the space? Where are the open players? Farther downfield, right? So if you're pressing us 4v4, and then that means probably that my striker is 1v1 and my wingers are 1v1. These are the fastest, most skillful players we have with the ball. Don't we want them to exploit the 1v1 opportunities? Shouldn't I recognize that as a goalkeeper? And I should be able to hit that player on the chest. I always say, when you're playing a long ball to a 9 or a 10 or a 7 or 11, the most dangerous place to play it, as far as what is the other team going to do, is to their chest. What are they going to do? Anything they come in physically on that player with now is probably going to result in a foul, which means, great, we just won 60 yards of space with a free kick to organize and figure out what we want to do next. When you playing to the feet is great, but it's very difficult to do if you're being pressed really hard, be able to play to players' feet. So if you're playing over the top, over a bunch of lines, oftentimes it's going to be in the air. If it's in the air, can you ping that player onto the chest? That player should have the ability then simply to drop that ball to their feet and play quickly, or to pop the ball on with their chest, even better, to an on-rushing player, right? So the goalkeeper has to be able to demonstrate that they can play not only from the goal kick, long balls and short, but also from a back pass, long and short. Not only that, but from a drop kick. I don't know how many players are utilizing drop kicks anymore. Drop kicks have been semi in the modern game replaced by the side volley, which is great because it means when the ground's sloppy or bumpy that you can still play a driven ball. And then there are moments in the game when the long ball punt is called for, right? Right. You used to utilize those long ball punts for moments when we were up 1-0 and I knew the clock was ticking down and I knew we were under pressure. And I thought, boy, if I could stall this ball in the air past midfield for 30 seconds, that's a way to stall 30 seconds off the clock that they're surely not going to score on us. And there are moments when that's called for, right? Can the goalkeeper demonstrate to a coach that my foot skills are so good that I can do anything with this ball that the game calls for at whatever moment?
I love that. I think that really sums up every position and gives the audience something to think about in terms of really standing out and grabbing the college coaches' attention in that highlight video so that they come out and watch. Now, I know you help consult recruits for highlight videos and also what schools to chase. I'm going to include your social links in the caption below and your services as well. And then also if you want to do the research on your own and really take the time, we've also done so many other podcast episodes on every single aspect of college recruiting, how to get seen at ID camps, how to pick the right schools, what grades to have for the Ivy Leagues and other high academic schools. I mean, Don, what other episodes have we done? I think we've covered pretty much every single topic.
Yeah, no, we've covered academically, and we've
Mhm.
covered
Financials.
recruiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as things change, we've got some rule changes I think that are going to be coming up. We'll know more between January 6th and the 15th. We've got some court cases that are going to be coming up, and we should have some rulings. So we'll probably have more to talk about then. And
Yeah.
Erica, when you end up posting this episode, I will link to that. I will make some posts. I've done these posts on Twitter before and on Facebook especially. But a summary of things to look for in your highlight video. By the way, we probably should mention, Erica, please, no slow motion, please.
Hmm.
No slow motion instant replays. I don't need to see the play over and over slow motion. They have this thing on the computer called rewind. If I want to watch it again, I can just back it up and watch it again. And then please do not speed up your video.
Hmm.
Players will go 1.5 times speed on their video because they think coaches are stupid and they think they will make themselves look faster than they really are. You're better off just going to Erica and learning how to become faster rather than pretending you're fast. Believe me, when you step on campus, even if you did fool that coach, they're going to say, "Oh, what have I done? This player isn't as fast as they were in the video." I don't think you'll fool them, but if you do fool them, it's not going to help. And it really makes us not want to recruit you when we see all those sped up videos.
Yeah. And they'll know as soon as they come see you in person at that showcase, you're going to get exposed anyway, so have fun with that.
Anyway, we can always tell when that really fat old man lineman looks like he's just, like he can run in the Olympics now. It's like, well, wait a minute. Okay, now I know it was sped up. Look
Yeah.
at that lineman fly down the line. We can always tell. So yeah,
Mhm.
no slow motion, no. And by the way, I think the music can probably stay out. It is, look, when we're watching videos, we're often in an office with other coaches around, so we're muting it anyways. Okay, we're muting it anyways. And if your music selection is hardcore music with the N word every other word because that's what you listen to, it doesn't bother me that you listen to it. Most of the time you've all got headphones on anyways. I don't care what your musical tastes are. I don't care how good of a music producer you are. I'm recruiting you as a soccer player. And frankly, all you're doing is risking that one of those coaches that are watching the video is annoyed by the music and maybe offended by the music. Okay. And we have these soundtracks, this house music soundtrack stuff that's generic out there that you can get, and you don't have to worry about posting up to YouTube because you're not going to get smashed by the record label for using unauthorized music. And that stuff's just repetitive and annoying for most of us. So I think the music can probably stay out. There's nothing wrong with the natural sounds of the game unless your parents are insane on the sideline and really really annoying, in which case just mute the music. Look, or mute the sound. We're there to watch you play. We're not there to listen to music, and we're not, that's not why we're doing it. I think it's great for grandma's version, pick the songs that grandma likes best, and the slow motion I think is fantastic for grandma and grandpa. I'm sure that they will appreciate that slow motion stuff, but hold that out for the coaches, and just let's get to business. with that 3.5 minute video and make that first 30 seconds so good that they want to invest another, 3 minutes into you, and then make that so good they want to invest another 8 minutes into you, etc.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I will link everything below and then also share your Twitter account because you have been making some great posts on each position and what to include just as a summary to all of this. So I'll shoot that over in the caption below, and everyone, we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.